Dame Catherine Cookson, DBE, was an English author. She became the United Kingdom's most widely read novelist, with sales topping 100 million, while retaining a relatively low profile in the world of celebrity writers. Her books were inspired by her deprived youth in South Tyneside, northeast England, the setting for her novels. Early life: born as Catherine Ann McMullen at 5 Lean Lane in Tynedock, South Shields, County Durham, and known as Kate as a child. She moved to East Jarrow, County Durham, which would become the setting for one of her best-known novels, The 15 Streets. The illegitimate child of an alcoholic named Kate Fawcett, she grew up thinking her unmarried mother was her sister, as she was brought up by her grandparents, Rose and John McMullen. Biographer Kathleen Jones tracked down her father, whose name was Alexander Davis, a bigamist and gambler from Lanarkshire. She left school at 13 and, after a period of domestic service, took a laundry job at Harton Workhouse in South Shields. In 1929, she moved south to run the laundry at Hastings Workhouse, saving every penny to buy a large Victorian house, and then taking in lodgers to supplement her income. In June 1940, at the age of 34, she married Tom Cookson, a teacher at Hastings Grammar School. After experiencing 4 miscarriages late in pregnancy, it was discovered she was suffering from a rare vascular disease, telangiectasia, which causes bleeding from the nose, fingers and stomach and results in anemia. A mental breakdown followed the miscarriages, from which it took her a decade to recover. Writing career: she took up writing as a form of therapy to tackle her depression, and joined Hastings Writers Group. Her first novel, Kate Hannigan, was published in 1950. Though it was labeled a romance, she expressed discontent with the stereotype. Her books were, she said, historical novels about people and conditions she knew. Cookson had little connection with the London literary circus. She was always more interested in practicing the art of writing. Her research could be uncomfortably going down a mine, for instance, because her heroine came from a mining area. Having in her youth wanted to write about above-stairs and grand houses, she later and successfully concentrated on people ground down by circumstances, taking care to know them well. Cookson wrote almost 100 books, which sold more than 123 million copies, her novels being translated into at least 20 languages. She also wrote books under the pseudonyms Catherine Marchant and a name derived from her childhood name, Katie McMullen. She remained the most borrowed author from public libraries in the UK for 17 years, losing the title only in 2002, 4 years after her death. Books in film, television and on stage: many of Cookson's novels have been transferred to stage, film and radio. The first film from her work was Jacqueline, directed by Roy Ward Baker, based on her book A Grand Man. It was followed by Rooney, directed by George Pollock, based on her book Rooney. Both starred John Gregson. For commercial reasons, the action of both films was transferred from South Shields to Ireland. In 1983, Katie Mulholland was adapted into a stage musical by composer Eric Boswell and writer-director Ken Hill. Cookson attended the premiere. It was on television, however, that she achieved her greatest media success, with a series of dramas on ITV lasting over a decade and achieving huge ratings. 18 books were adapted for television between 1990 and 2001. They were all produced by Ray Marshall from Festival Film and TV, who was given permission by Cookson in 1988 to bring her works to the screen. The first film to be made, A 15th Street starring Sean Bean and Owen Teale, was nominated for an Emmy Award in 1990. The second production, The Black Velvet Gown, won an International Emmy for Best Drama in 1991. The miniseries regularly attracted audiences over 10 million and are still showing in the UK on the Yesterday channel. Philanthropy: although she became a multi-millionaire from her books, Cookson was frugal with her spending. She did, however, indulge in discreet philanthropy, supporting causes in northeast England and medical research in areas that were close to her heart. When public lending rights were introduced for authors, she became immediately eligible for the maximum £5,000 a year but donated it for the benefit of less fortunate writers. She also donated more than £1 million for research into a cure for the illness that afflicted her. In 1985, she pledged more than £800,000 to the University of Newcastle. In gratitude, the university set up a lectureship in haematology. Some £40,000 was given to provide a laser to help treat bleeding disorders, and £50,000 went to create a new post in ear, nose and throat studies, with particular reference to the detection of deafness in children. She had already given £20,000 towards the university's Hatton Gallery and £32,000 to its library. In recognition of this generosity, a building in the university medical faculty has been named after her. Her foundation continues to make donations to worthy causes in the UK, particularly those offering services to young people and cultural ventures, such as the Tyneside Cinema. Honours: she was created an Officer of the Order of the British Empire in 1985 and was elevated to Dame Commander of the Order of the British Empire in 1993. Cookson received the Freedom of the Borough of South Tyneside, and an honorary degree from the University of Newcastle. The Variety Club of Great Britain named her Writer of the Year, and she was voted Personality of the North East. Later life and death: in later life, Cookson and her husband Tom returned to the North East and settled first in Haldane Terrace, Jesmond. They then moved to Corbridge, a market town near Newcastle, and later to Langley, Northumberland, a small village nearby. As her health declined, they moved for a final time to the Jesmond area of Newcastle upon Tyne to be nearer medical facilities. For the last few years of her life, she was bedridden, and she gave her final TV interview to North East Tonight, the regional ITV Tyne's news programme, from her sickbed. It was conducted by Mike Neville. Catherine Cookson died at the age of 91, 16 days before her 92nd birthday, at her home in Newcastle. Her novels, many written from her sickbed, continued to be published posthumously until 2002. Tom died on June 28, 1998, just 17 days later. He had been hospitalized for a week and the cause of his death was not announced. He was 86 years old. Legacy: in March 2008, the Dame Catherine Cookson Memorial Garden was unveiled in the grounds of South Tyneside District Hospital in South Shields, based on the theme of a serpentine symbol, commonly used to symbolize health and caring. The hospital occupies the site of the Harton Workhouse, where Cookson worked from 1924 to 1929. The project was partly funded by the Catherine Cookson Trust. Tom and Catherine, a musical about the couple's life, was written by local playwright Tom Kelly. It played to sell-out crowds at the Customs House in South Shields. Bibliography written as Catherine Marchant Heritage of Folly, also known as Heritage of Folly by Katie McMullen, The Fen Tiger, also known as The House on the Fens, House of Men, The Myths of Memory, also known as The Lady on My Left by Catherine Cookson, The Iron Facade, also known as Evil at Rogers Cross, Miss Martha Mary Crawford, The Slow Awakening. Written as Katie McMullen Heritage of Folly, also known as Heritage of Folly by Catherine Marchant. Biographies: To Be a Lady, Biography of Catherine Cookson by Cliff Goodwin, The Girl from Leam Lane, The Life and Writing of Catherine Cookson by Piers Dudgeon, Catherine Cookson by Kathleen Jones Constable, 1999, Kate's Daughter, The Real Catherine Cookson by Piers Dudgeon, Seeking Catherine Cookson's Dar by Kathleen Jones Constable. Books in film and television: The 15 Streets with Sean Bean, Owen Teale, Claire Holman and Jane Horrocks, The Black Velvet Gown with Janet McTeer, Bob Peck, Geraldine Somerville won the International Emmy Award for Best Drama. The Cinder Path with Catherine Zeta-Jones, The Dwelling Place with Tracy Whitwell, Julie Hesmondhalgh and Ray Stevenson, The Tide of Life with Gillian Kearney and future Rome co-star James Purefoy, The Gambling Man with Robson Green, The Mallons with John Hallam and Juliet Stevenson, Our John Willie with Ian Cullen, David Burke, James Garbutt, John Malcolm and Malcolm Terries, The Black Candle with Nathaniel Parker and Samantha Bond, The Man Who Cried with Ciara N. Hines and Amanda Root, The Glass Virgin with Nigel Havers, Emily Mortimer and Brendan Coyle, The Girl with Jonathan Cake, Malcolm Stoddard, Jill Baker and Siobhan Flynn, The Moth with Jack Davenport, Juliette Aubrey and Justine Waddell, The Rag Nymph with Honeysuckle Weeks, Alec Newman and Val McLean, The Wingless Bird with Claire Skinner, Anne Reid and Julian Wadham, Color Blind with Niamh Cusack, Tony Armatrading, Art Malik, and Carmen Ejogo, The Round Towel with Amelia Fox, Ben Miles and Dennis Lawson, Tilly Trotter with Carly Norris, Beth Goddard, Sarah Alexander, Amelia Bullmore, Rosemary Leach and Simon Shepherd, The Secret with Colin Buchanan, Hannah Yelland, Elizabeth Carling, Claire Higgins, and Stephen Moyer, A Dinner of Herbs with Jonathan Kerrigan, Melanie Clark Pullen, Deborah Stevenson, David Threlfall and Billy Whitelaw. References. External links, Catherine Cookson at the Internet Movie Database.